Uncle Ben. Murdered. I have to find the guy who did it. There's nothing Peter Parker can do at this point. But Spider-Man is a different story.
Normally, this is where I try to make some witty comment as a lead to my review, but this time I was too distracted by the flying human arachnid to come up with one. You see, this is Spider-Man. Yes, the Spider-Man. And he's mighty pissed. I mean, I can't really blame him, but nonetheless, his anger is spewing forth in viscous globs of web-like rage. Apparently, this iconic hero, this staple of comics, cartoons, movies, and Halloween costumes, has finally had his fill of lackluster video games. Seriously, I'm not even controlling the game at this point. Spider-Man has assumed direct control, and he wants to know who's responsible. Yet, even with his spidey senses, he isn't getting much further than beating up random dudes.
Thank you so much. You saved my life.
Don't worry about it, lady. I gotta go.
Wait, before you go, I lost my purse on one of the rooftops around here.
On a different rooftop?
Yes.
Different from this one?
Yes.
Are you serious? Are you taking some kind of tour of city rooftops?
Yes.
Okay, whatever. I'll find your purse for you.
Thank you.
I mean, he's obviously blinded by his own rage, but who could possibly be responsible for putting such a legendary hero into so many mediocre video... Oh boy. Well, yeah, while he takes care of that, let's take a look at the source of his rage. This 2002 release is loosely based on the first of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films, but as you might expect from a movie tie-in, this decidedly average game never gets very far off the ground. The story follows the plot of the Spider-Man movie, but in the same way a drunken friend follows you on the sidewalk. It gets to the same place, but it stumbles a lot and falls over along the way. Incidentally, controlling Spider-Man often feels the same. Now, to be fair, that's not the case when you're outdoors. As long as you're outside the buildings, Spider-Man's control hindrances are less noticeable. In fact, the game is really at its best when you're swinging across the towering city skyline. It's a lot of fun to soar past skyscrapers and engage enemies in midair, especially when you're so high you can barely make out the cars below. And to its credit, Spider-Man creates a sense of elevation. It does a nice job giving players the awesome ability to swing through the urban jungle. Of course, once you step indoors, the webbing starts to peel. See, Spider-Man is less nimble than you might think, and controlling him in narrow corridors like hallways and vents can be a bit frustrating. When he's grounded, Spider-Man actually feels a bit stiff and awkward, a far cry from the agile hero he's supposed to be. The combat isn't much better either. It's mostly comprised of button mashing typical of the most repetitive three-dimensional beat-em-ups. And it's not broken or anything, it's just boring. Unlike soaring through the city, there's just no hook to beating up like-modeled enemies. Worse yet, the camera's just a mess. You can't lock it behind Spidey, and although you can move it manually with the right analog stick, it's clunky and unreliable at best. Now fortunately, you can lock the camera by targeting enemies, which is when your view is at its best, but especially indoors, the camera's often a real struggle. The fun of swinging through the city just isn't worth dealing with the overall mediocrity of the game's design. And anyway, better games based on this iconic character have since been released. So unless you're a die-hard Marvel collector, this Spider-Man game is one worth squishing.